All right, thanks very much, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm here today, as Nancy said, to give you a little bit of the editor's perspective on articles, news releases, and other types of coverage, both in print and online. I want to reiterate that editorial coverage is free of charge. Our goal as editors is to present our readers with the most pertinent copy. We want to present them with information that can help them run their businesses. And in addition, it can have many benefits for your company, including getting your name out to our broad base of readers. Many companies have called us after an issue hits Dan and say their phones are ringing with customers who call to say they saw the article, as well as new customers calling them to query about the product that we covered. So that's always good news for us. So I've got a brief outline here. This is what we're going to talk about, and I will continue to refer back to this as we go forward so you guys can keep track of where I'm at. So we're going to start out with all the different options. I wanted to begin by discussing the options available in our family of publications. Modern Metals is our horizontal publication. We have 34,000 service centers, fabricators, and OEMs that are our audience. We also have a Fabricating and Forming magazine, FF Journal, which focuses on the latest developments in fabricating and forming technologies. Has more than 38,000 readers. In addition, each publication has a corresponding web presence. So with the two magazines are two websites, our social media. Today's content is distributed in a wide variety of formats. And many of our readers, I've put some graphs up here for you guys, still like to receive their information in print. But these other technologies are growing and supplement our print product. And if you have a story in our print, it appears online and digital as well, so it kind of triples the exposure of that editorial content. We conducted a readership survey in the fourth quarter of 2011, and 77% of our survey respondents preferred to access content from Modern Metals via print when they were in the office, and 50% wanted to access that content via print outside of the office. But the number that prefer the digital and the online content is growing. 65% overall, although they prefer their content delivered in print, 21% prefer both, and 15% prefer digital. So the point is that as a result of these different preferences, it's important when building a media program to consider all of these options. However, with so many options, it's sometimes difficult to find out where to start. I think a great place to start is our editorial calendar. We call it our media kit. Every year in the fourth quarter, we release the editorial calendar for the upcoming year. It includes detailed descriptions of our publications. We do them all in one booklet now, so you can get MM, FFJ, our metals directory. And you'll see I've pasted below here, it's sort of a 12-month breakdown of what we're going to be covering, as well as if those issues have bonus distributions, which means that in addition to our regular mailing to our circulation, the issue will also be distributed at conferences and trade shows. As Nancy mentioned, looking at what we plan to cover each month can help you plan that news release schedule. For example, we don't cover Waterjet every month, and if you look at the calendar, it will show you when we cover Waterjet technologies. And then you can reach out to an editor to be part of that publication. It can also be if you're interested in a particular magazine that has a bonus distribution, the FabTech show, for instance, or a particular service center conference, then you can give us a call and kind of tailor that distribution of those news releases. And give us a call and we'll help you determine what's best for your company, and your goals and our goals as well. Next, I'm going to kind of reiterate a couple of things that Nancy said, but talk about a little bit about what goes into what we look for in news releases as well as how to participate in an editorial feature. Timing is really important. It's important to keep in mind that we work about 2 months out on our editorial calendar, and those stories are typically scheduled 3 to 4 months in advance. As an example, for the magazine that you'll receive in your office mid-May, production began approximately a month and 1/2 previous, and copy was being worked on 2 to 3 weeks more ahead of that. So copy is set prior to the magazine coming out, and that's really important to think about when you're working with editorial, to give us enough time to be able to schedule that for you. But adding web media, as you'll see on this slide, it's broadened our options of coverage. We also don't need as much lead time with the web media as we do with the print, because frankly it's not printed. So we can get those stories up there a lot quicker. We offer in print feature articles, news releases, which include company news, people news, product news. We also offer guest editorials, which actually for us have risen in popularity during the last few years. It's not product or advertising focused. It's a platform for people involved in the industry to discuss pertinent industry issues. And that's, like I said, they've risen in popularity, and that's a really good way to kind of get your thoughts and your company name out to the industry. Online, we offer all of that, plus we also offer events, literature, videos, and guest editorials. That's the news. Feature stories, we also offer a broad variety of types. We have company profiles, case study stories. As Nancy said, they involve speaking with you guys as well as a customer who's using that product. We also have market reports. These reports cover global economic growth, OEM reports on appliance, energy, electronics, pertinent industry issues in a broad format. And those are usually multi-source articles. You'll be participating as well as some of your peers. And then our online, we tailor our online to go along with our magazines. We cover a lot of the same topics: business, technology, training and education, economics, art, and architecture. So what are we looking for when you give us a call about a feature story? Our job, as I mentioned, is to tell the stories of the industry. So first and foremost, we're looking for new technologies, interesting applications, and big company milestones. You can always email us with your ideas, but sometimes the best and quickest way to hash out details is to give us a call. It's our job to take your ideas and find the right place for them. So your ideas don't need to be in any sort of formal format. Give us a call and we'll discuss it and figure out the best place for your story. Case studies are intensive studies of products. They've stressed out products' characteristics and contributions to a company's success. They're instructive. And as Nancy mentioned, it's beneficial to already have some possible customers in mind because the editor is going to ask for one. We require customer input for our case study stories so that you get that perspective. Their experiences help us define the narrative and help put your product in its best possible light. Although, if you don't have a customer that wants to talk or a brand new product, there are many other options for coverage. In MM, we often do company profiles, which detail upgrades and expansion. These are really popular amongst our readers. They like to read about their industry peers. We usually interview a group of individuals within the. And then, as I mentioned, we also have the special reports. Multi-source articles, they're the ones listed across the top of our editorial calendar. And if you have knowledge about appliance, electronics, give us a call. Remember that timing about 4 months in advance and say, hey, I'd like to participate, and we'd be happy to include you. On that note, participating in articles, first of all, we'll give you a call. It's usually approximately a 30-minute phone interview with the editor who's writing the article. We do all our writing in-house here at MM, so we'll take care of drafting the story for you and all of that. Personally, I always send out questions ahead of time, so everybody's on the same page prior to our conversation. I'll typically ask follow-ups in the interview to clarify details, completely understand the topic. And feel free to ask the editor for questions ahead of time if the person you're speaking with doesn't immediately offer. I always think it's good for everybody to start on the same page. Think of interviews like conversations. It's okay to not know the answer to a question and send me the information at a later date. Stories for me are usually a multi-step process. And sometimes I'll send you questions at a later date as well as I'm drafting to clarify a topic. And you can offer to send me or whoever's writing your story more information after the interview. The more information, the better. We always welcome it. You're not bothering us or anything like that. Finally, I usually prefer phone interviews over written responses. It's back to that idea of a conversation. Sometimes in the conversation process, you can hit upon an interesting topic or sidebar to the story. However, sometimes people are better communicators through writing. If that's the case, or your schedule's really busy and doesn't allow for a telephone interview, feel free to offer to submit responses in writing. We're very flexible. We're here for you. We'd like to get this story done the best way possible, and however we can do that, we're willing to work with you. The editor will usually ask if he or she can record the conversation. Not to worry, it's primarily for the editor's reference to make sure we get all our facts correct. And both MM and FFJ have an in-house policy where each source receives a fact check prior to publication. In this fact check, you can make changes to your quotes, paraphrases, technical data. You can work with an editor to rephrase. We want to make sure that you're published and that you're happy with your story. So you'll get a fact check.